Jumping right into, I guess, one of the most heavily anticipated matchups since it was announced over the past few months, we got Colorado traveling to Fort Worth, taking on TCU. In my humble opinion, I don't know that this is going to be a very close game either. I think the spread right now is 20.5. I will pick TCU to cover that. I just don't think that Colorado is going to be able to build or sustain any success this season. In the future, we'll see, but this year I don't know that it's going to go very well for them. TCU last year was either really good or really lucky, depends on how you look at it. Either way, they were definitely better than Colorado. And I think this year they're still set up to have more success and be more competitive than Colorado this year. I think Sonny Dykes is a great coach. They did lose a lot. They lost Garrett Riley, which I think is a fantastic pickup for Clemson, and I think an underrated coaching move that people aren't talking about quite enough. They did lose their starting running back, Kendra Miller, I believe. He was fantastic. They lost, I believe, 2 receivers in the draft.
One went the first round, didn't it?
And obviously they lost Max Duggan. So they're losing a lot on the offensive side, but a kind of glass half full kind of attitude. The quarterback they have is the one they started last season with before he went down and Max Duggan took over. So it's not like they got a scrub coming in at quarterback. They got some transfers coming in too, kind of like Nebraska did. I think they're going to be able to sustain some success on the offensive side, and I think that defense is still going to stay playing well as a unit. So I think TCU is still going to take a step back from last year, but I still think they're going to be very competitive in their conference, and I think they're going to take this game pretty easily. I don't know that Deion Sanders is a good coach. That may be a hot take. I don't know, but I don't know that he is. He went to Jackson State. They did well in Jackson State, but I mean, we're talking at an FCS level, and the 2 years that he made it to his championship game, he lost both times. They won the conference, but lost their championship game with the other HBCU schools there. So when in the big game, he couldn't deliver 2 years in a row. So I don't know what he's going to look like in the Power 5. You know, that's a big jump. That's not just jumping from FCS to Group of 5. That's jumping from FCS to a Power 5 team. And it's a team that has not been good for quite some time now. A team that went 1-11 last year, and he could have easily walked in and said, "Hey, we'll try and win 2 games this year, be 100% better." But that's not the Deion way. So he's set all these expectations, and I don't know that he's going to fail long term, but short term, as in this year, I don't know that it's going to go well, and I don't think it's going to start off well on national television, not having anybody who's been in that situation to handle that pressure. So I think TCU is going to take it, and I think they're going to cover that 20.5.
Chaz, what's your take on TCU and Colorado?
I think TCU is coming into the season with a huge chip on their shoulder. I don't think. They just got completely embarrassed their last game. Everybody, unanimously decided that they did not deserve to be in the playoffs, especially after the national championship. And I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think comfortable with the quarterback that they have. I don't think Deion is going to turn this program around at Colorado in the first year. I don't know if he's going to do it at all. I have seen videos and reports that he's incredibly hard-nosed, and so many people transferred out of that program when he took over because he wants to turn it around. So hopefully he does. I don't know if he really turned around Jackson State, because Jackson State just they beat the brakes off of somebody last week. But I am going to go TCU. The spread is 20.5, I believe. They'll cover.
Yeah. I agree. You talk about the folks transferring out of Colorado. I think that was 79, I think, is the number that I remember.
Some obscene number like that.
Yeah. Something like 70-something, 79 transfers out of the program, scholarship transfers out of the program. That's insane. That's almost an entirely new team in one off season. We were talking about going from FCS to a Power 5, not just a Power 5 team, but Power 5 conference, and arguably probably the third best conference in the NCAA right now this year.
You can make that argument for sure.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. It's a shame that the Pac-12 is breaking up this year, because I think this year's probably the most competitive Pac-12 schedule in 20, 25 years maybe. I mean, you go back to see what USC did back in the early 2000s, but they were the only program out there that was really doing anything. Stanford played really good for a little while, but I just think that coming into this league at this time with virtually all transfers, and he told those guys when he took over the program, you might as well put your name in the portal because you're going to end up wanting to leave here. And he ran a bunch of folks off. Chad, as you talk about him being hard nosed, I've seen some of the things he's done, some of the coaching he's done, just what they show us on TV, and obviously I haven't been out there to see it in person, but I like some of the stuff that I see. Of course, you guys know I'm old school, hard nosed coaching don't bother me a bit. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I agree with you guys. I think that TCU is going to come into that game a little bit feeling like they were a little bit disrespected. Them taking on the Georgia Bulldogs in that national championship game was, that was a David and Goliath moment, but Goliath won that game. And I think that TCU sees now what they need to do going forward, and making strides to do that, will probably happen. I just don't know they'll be able to compete at that level again. But certainly against against Colorado, I think they'll take care of business. I picked them to cover the spread easily on this game.